Welcome to Baseball Biz on Deck. I am Mark Corbin, and with me today, of course, is Mr. Matt Germain. And today we have a very special guest, somebody who brings the O's word to us all from the Full Count Chaos, and that's Mr. Nate Andrews. How you doing, Nate?
Good. Thank you for having me on. Always happy to talk Orioles. Even when they're first place, sometimes it still gives me indigestion to talk about this team, but I'm all ready. I'm all for it.
Well, brother, come on. Matt and I were talking earlier. We're looking at this team. I mean, were you guys the first ones to hit 70 wins this year?
Yeah, I know. And that's what's ironic. I think on my last episode, we're all venting about how bad they've been playing lately. But then all of a sudden, first team hit 70 wins, and we're sitting here complaining. I don't know. I guess maybe that's just the normality of sports fans. We're all nuts. We're all crazy. But yes, that is correct. The Orioles were the first team this season to hit 70 wins. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, how you doing too as well, buddy? How's this going up there up north of the border?
I'm not ready to give up summer yet, Mark. Up north we get the little chill in the air, and in the middle of the night, a little bit earlier than everybody else. So we're starting to feel that little chill at the end of the night, and it's kind of bringing fall around.
Yeah.
If you're an Orioles fan, it's exciting because you're looking at the playoffs, and if you're a Rays fan, you're kind of just a little bit more low on the totem pole.
Not out of it yet, though, right? I mean, pertaining to the wild card, aren't you guys? You guys are right in the mix, aren't you?
We're 6 games back right now. You guys are 4.5 games up on the wild card. So that would be my first question to you, really, is would you prefer to be going in on the wild card or to win the division?
That is so funny that you ask that, because that's something I was talking about. I've always been like the type of guy who would rather be the underdog, and that's just, I think, pertaining to sports superstition. You want to fly under the radar. You don't want to be the team that everyone wants to beat. But seeing the teams that we would have to face if we did, let's say, win the division, and then seeing the teams that are in the wild card, it's almost like night and day. I don't know. I might have to get back to you on that question.
The way I would frame it is this: would you rather face one of those teams like as you're going through a season, as if you're continuing the season and everybody gets to keep going as business per usual? Or would you rather have an opportunity to have time off, get cold, have to resync to face one of those teams?
I don't know. I've always believed in pertaining to sports as momentum.
Right.
I do. I'm that guy, and over the years I've always talked to people who disagree, but I don't know. I just feel momentum. And again, speaking about, piggybacking on whether or not you would rather, be wild card or first place. I read a stat that was kind of funny, pertaining to being the best team going into the playoffs. Since 1990, MLB's winningest team has won the World Series just 7 times. So I think when I saw that and came across that, I'm like, oh no, now my sports superstition has even just raised 100%. But yeah, I believe in momentum. I believe in, sometimes if you take some time off, I don't know, you get rusty. But
when you say that, that's 21% of the time that they've done that since 1990. So
yeah,
that's not very very promising overall.
No, I mean, look at last year. The Orioles 101-61. I was talking about this last episode as well. Dodgers 104-58, and then you had the Braves or the Dodgers 162. They went 1-9 last year in the playoffs. So, I don't know. I mean, it might say something pertaining to momentum and being the underdog or wild card, however you want to look at it. So I don't know. Is there something there? Sure. But
well, one of the things Matt was talking about too is sometimes the space between games in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about a team getting cold. I mean, it happens.
Sure.
Matt's talked about going ahead and restructuring everything in the past as far as the postseason. Well, we both have, but
Sure.
I don't know what that would be, to be quite honest with you, but it has been a challenge, and it's sad, man. It's painful when you see a team who you guys had over 100 wins last year, right?
Yeah.
And
101. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I was, oh, geez. Well,
yeah. No, I'm with you. And it's been a big conversation pertaining to the playoffs and the way it's structured.
I just think baseball is one of those games where the players are used to not having much time off, except for the All-Star break, I think is the one caveat, but they're all welcoming that because, they have so many bumps and bruises to kind of heal. But what I've noticed recently, maybe in the last 4 years, like since the 2020 season, the teams that have to battle it out the hardest leading into the playoffs seem to have a sharper edge to them, that are the fighting spirit that they get through that first series and the second series pretty easily.
Yeah.
That's it. I've kind of seen it.
I agree. And you're right with the time off. I mean, look what happens with pitchers just through regular season. If they have, more than their usual time off, they get thrown, they get thrown out of sync. And, they don't pitch well, or look at a rain delay. Oh, the pitcher's sitting too long. We gotta get a new pitcher. So I think in baseball, when you if you're just not going and going and going, and sometimes, I think it'll screw up your rhythm.
Well, I've even seen that in an individual game. I know it was last year sometime the Yankees were playing. Gerritt Cole was going to take the mound, and he thought they were just going to I guess, sing the national anthem, and then he was going to get out there. But there was also some little ceremony recognizing somebody, and you could see him on the sidelines, and he was pissed. You're messing with my whole rhythm here, just even getting out to the mound, brother.
Right. As much as I'm not a fan of Gerritt Cole for obvious reasons, I feel for him. I'm on his side with that. I get it. Yeah. That's funny.
So now that you stole Zach Eflin from us, how does your pitching staff look heading into like the rest of August and September and into the playoffs? Like how
not good, man. Not good. And that's what's frustrating. And that's why it's funny when you're talking to an Orioles fan and I'm sitting here groaning and being like, oh, I've got heartburn. And you're sitting over there going, what the hell are you talking about? But the injuries are insane with pitching. I mean, again, I don't know if I'm telling you stuff you guys already know, but our closer, Felix Bautista, is out. Grayson Rodriguez, John Means, two big star pitchers, Tyler Wells, Webb, Cologne, all these guys, these big, solid arms, gone. They just, they're not going to. Kyle Bradish, I think, I don't know if I just mentioned him, another, number one, number two pitcher that we had. We got none of them. We got Corbin Burnes and then Eflin. And then after that, it's just I watch the game on my knees and pray for 9 innings. Eflin's been great, man. I got to say, since he's been on the Orioles, what's he, 3-0, 2.33 ERA, 19 innings pitched with 17 Ks, 2 walks. The guy's pitching great. Other than that, it's a toss-up, and the bullpen's hurting. I say the Orioles, since the All-Star break, they've been playing 12-12. The past, month and a half, they haven't had more than a 2-game winning streak. I think that's going on through the entire East division, which is kind of funny. I think we're all playing like 500 ball. I mean, I think the Yankees just lost to the White Sox. Was it 12-2 the other night? But anyway, I'm kind of getting off track here. Yes, I am very happy that Eflin has come on this team, because if he didn't, it would be a shaky ride after Corbin Burnes pitches. So when we're thinking, Orioles fans are like, all right, well, when we make the playoffs, who's pitching game 3?
Yeah.
And
I thought Trevor Rogers might be that guy, or might turn things around a little bit or change them. Now, I know it takes some time, right? When you have new ideas thrown at you or new things, but I haven't seen much from him in his 2 starts that says, oh, I'm going to break it out. Like I'm going to.
No. Yeah. Look. He throws 92, 93 max. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when you don't have an out pitch, or you don't have a pitch that batters look silly trying to hit, you're not going to really succeed in the majors. And unfortunately, we had a guy, Cole Irvin. I don't expect you to know who that guy's. They got rid of him this season, like a few weeks ago. And he was a left-handed pitcher. Basically has the same ERA, same strike, same whip as Rogers. So we're all just laughing like, oh my God, we're in the twilight zone. But yeah, man, of your question pertaining to pitching and coming in October, it's a huge concern. It really is. We're just hoping that the Orioles, through their offense, home run or bust, we just hope that every game they hit 5-6 home runs a game. That's about it.
A strong
Is
offense
there
will
an
take you
arm?
far.
Yeah, is there an arm in AAA though that you could kind of foresee? Because I'm personally like a big prospects guy. I have fantasy leagues that have like
Sure.
a crazy amount of numbers, and I love Kate Povich. I know he got like a look this season.
Well, his problem
Could
is he
he be?
just can't. I think his problem. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, man. At the end. What would you say?
I said, could he be the game 3 starter?
Well, they tried. They did give him some chances. He just can't not walk batters. I think he thinks that he gets a bonus at the end of the season if he walks a certain amount of guys. I think he needs to go back and reread that because that's not what it says. So I don't know. Cade Povich sometimes has some signs where you're like, damn, this kid's gonna be all right. And then something happens and he just can't hit the strike zone. And he had that problem down in the minors too, but he's got a solid arm. And like I said, there are some games where you're just like, dang, this is it. But unfortunately, that is a lower percentage than him walking batters. And that's what's frustrating. Right. So, yeah, that's why he's not up here right now. Because trust me, I mean, it's tryouts for Baltimore with pitching. I mean, if you know someone like, a brother-in-law who used to pitch, let us know because right now it's rough. So.
Well, we were talking about having something like that recently too. Just what were you saying last week, Matt, about having the Angels in the outfield?
The White Sox should have a tryout for people coming on, but they just beat the Yankees. So you know what?
I know it's so crazy.
Do that anymore.
It's like the Orioles and the Yankees. They keep wrapping up in a nice little pretty box the division and going, here, you have it. And the Orioles are like, no, we can't take it. You have it. It's so crazy. Like, what is happening right now?
Oh, and it couldn't have been any prettier. Okay, let's face it. the White Sox had lost 21 games in a row.
Yeah, you know who they tied?
Who's that?
The 1988 Orioles.
Oh Lord! Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah, no. Right,
but I mean, that's your streak, and then you wound up out of. They may have had one other loss in between, but I mean, they come up and they beat the freaking Yankees as hard as they did. It was so nuts. Silly. It was absolutely nuts to watch. So much so that last night, today's being Wednesday, August 14th, but last night I went to bed. And the Rays game was over. Wasn't pleased, but the thing. But I was looking on my phone what was happening with the Yankees and the White Sox, and finally I said, "Oh damn! I got to get back up and turn the TV on," because I was looking at the last innings and what was happening, and suddenly at the bottom of the ninth, they had 9. Yeah, they had the bases loaded. And they had a young player, I can't think of his name in the life of me, who had hit a home run, I think, the night before.
On the White Sox. Yeah.
And I said, geez, come on, guys.
Yeah, I just that 12-2 game, and believe it or not, I looked at that score and laughed. I didn't see the highlight. Who was pitching? Do you happen to know that by any chance? I mean, I had my phone in front of me. I could pull that up, but do you know who was pitching for the Yankees that night?
It wasn't Gerritt Cole.
Yeah, no.
Unfortunately.
No, let's see who it was. It wasn't a name I immediately recognized. Let's see.
Okay. Here. I was just curious. I didn't mean to, get us off track. Let me see here. Because so Cortez.
Lewis Gill. Yeah. He pitched for 4 innings. Yeah.
Oh, Gill was pitching. Oh, okay.
The better surprise of the year. I never saw him coming. I really knew that he had a quality arm, and I expected him to go to the pen. But he's the guy I think that saved the Yankees while Cole was out. He basically, took on that role almost identical in terms of stats as to what Cole would have done, which is incredible. Yeah. But I want to say that for the White Sox, they did an addition by subtraction. When they actually got rid of a lot of the stuff that was weighing them down, it kind of freed up the team. They're not playing for anything. They've got a new tone in there. Grady Sizemore is kind of taking the reins, and sometimes that can be refreshing for a team to the point where they get extra energy, extra focus, and they play harder than a team expects.
Sure. Although the White Sox, man, they just can't get out of their own way. I know they've tried to rebuild. They've tried to do. I mean, they're almost. I don't know if you saw. It was all over social media. They're kind of a classless organization. The Orioles picked up Jimenez from them, And the night that the Orioles, the news came out that the Orioles got him, the White Sox were doing some post game on TV, and they were all celebrating and saying, "Oh, where could we send a thank you gift to the Orioles and get this guy off the team?" Like, I don't know. To me, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, guys, you're not in the best situation right now to be acting a little.
They're looking for something to celebrate. I'll tell you.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because it isn't there. Yeah. The owner is the same guy, who owns the Bulls. And
Terrible.
I know some teams have conflicts. Some fans have conflicts with their owners. I know that's never been the
I
issue
know
with
nothing
you guys.
about that, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. How does that feel in terms of that? Because I know the thorn in the side of Rays fans was the stadium issue. We've got that resolved. You guys, it was a lot of the TV deal and the ownership. How refreshing is it to get that new ownership group in and to finally stop talking about nonsense off the field stuff?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, it is refreshing because we're already seeing moves with the new owner for these players of, taking on their salary. We never saw that with Angelos. And speaking of Eflin, that's the guy. And it's just great. It's so weird. John Angelos, I think he was all about, it was like music and concerts first and then baseball. That was just a whole bizarre situation. But no, to answer your question, yeah, fans love it. He's always out in the games talking with the fans. He goes out there. His new thing now is he signs hats and then gets down to like the first or second row and throws hats to the fans. And then he throws t-shirts. And then like a couple weeks ago, he was Mr. Splash spraying the hose. I don't know if you guys saw that in right field.
Didn't the Phillies owner do similar things?
He may have. And to me, yeah, I think that's great. He's excited. We're excited. Let's go. So yes, to get the Angelos family away from the Orioles is a wonderful thing. Wonderful. So, yeah. So basically, I'm happy.
Well, I'm glad to see that. I mean, I'm looking at, your all's budget. What are you at now? Is it 75 million or is it more than that for your payroll? Surely it's more than that.
I don't know if it is more than that.
I can bring it up. Give me one.
It may not be more than that.
I know I researched because before you came on, I was looking at commitments for next year. And the surprising part was that the Orioles have 22 million in commitments next year, and the Rays have 37 million. So you guys, like, based on your past spending, because you have reached, 150 million plus in a season. So when you look at the 130 million, you have a lot of room to add how you see fit. Obviously, you have options to pick up and etc.
Arbitration. It's 101 million, right?
I knew that one, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So how would you spend that money?
Well, first off, Santander. Anthony Santander right now. Oh my God. The guy is just, his bat has just come alive. I mean, it's either he's walking or he's hitting a home run. I mean, he hit a home run. He's 37 home runs. The guy's going nuts. In 60 games, he's hit 25 home runs.
Jeez.
And it was a crazy stat. There's only two other people who's done that since the beginning of June, Mickey Mantle and Chipper Jones. So I'm afraid, he's getting older. He's not as fast in the outfield. He's got a good glove, but he's slow. I'm afraid they're going to make a mistake. Nelson Cruz was on the Orioles years ago, and the Orioles let him go. And then, of course, for the next 10 years, Nelson Cruz is on a highlight reel every night. So I'm hoping that's not what the Orioles do. But yeah, first off, Santander. But number two guy of just dumping a bag of money on the table for it, you got to go Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, that's the guy. Him and Adley. Like I just think if you have those two, you're gonna have success for a long time.
I think so. I mean, Adley, we're starting to see his arm is a little. Sorry, guys. I got the game on in the background, and it looked like I was about to watch a little league play where everybody runs into each other trying to get the fly ball. I've seen that a lot lately too with the Orioles defense. I think these young guys are just tired, unfortunately. But Adley. Great ball player, just phenomenal. His arm is a little iffy, but other than that, I think he's top catcher, and I'll have to go back and look on stopping balls from going by, and yeah, Gunnar, Adley, Santander. That's it.
Well, you mentioned
rebuild around them again. Let's go through another rebuild.
I remember you and I had on a show in February 2023, and I think Mike Elias had said, we're not going to be talking about rebuild anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I said on the podcast, if I ever use the R word again, that's like a $20 bill in the jar. So we don't say the R word anymore. Yeah.
But look at that young staff that you have out there, man. I mean, when I look at these guys, Nate, I'm seeing Colton Cowser, Kobe Mayo, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holiday. Jackson Holiday can't even drink beer yet. Come on, legally.
Oh, and he looks like he's 50. He's going to get carded for alcohol for at least the next 10 to 15 years. I mean, he looks 12 years old. And what he's doing right now, when he first came up, I'm sure the whole world knew. I mean, MSNBC cut to freaking Jackson Holiday coming up the home plate when he came to bat. But the tension was on him so much, he just didn't do well when he first came up. But now he comes up, and now he's the only Orioles player to ever hit 5 home runs in over a 10-game span before turning the age of 21. I mean, he's just every other hit, it's a home run right now. And the batting coach, people are like, well, what the hell's going on here? What was different? He just said his leg kick and his hand positioning, just a little bit of a difference. That's all it took. And relaxing. I think it was a circus when he first came up.
Yeah.
I mean, his dad and his brother were in the crowd, and there was like 100 people in line just to get their autograph. It was a circus. And I think the poor kid just crushed under pressure, and now it's just a regular call up like, hey, let's play some ball. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because if you look at him on Baseball Reference, you're going to see a number for batting average and on base that is much lower. Pardon me, that is much lower than the performance he's giving now. And is Santander giving any coaching to those young men?
Yes, that's funny that you say that. He sure did. There's an article that Baltimore Banner just put out. I talked about this. This is so cool. He fixed, I guess you could say, Colton Cowser. Anthony could see Colton swing, and he could see he was slumping, and Santander's been in that situation. He's like, I know what he's going through. And he walked up to Colton. He said, look, man, right now you're swinging a 33.5. Trust me. I see your swing. Try a 34. Now, at first, Colton was like, I don't know, man. I'm comfortable with the 33.5. And he said, just trust me. Well, he took some batting practice. He worked on it. And guess what? His first hit after the All-Star break, he crushed a 420-foot home run off of Nathan Eovaldi. So Anthony was seeing something in his swing, and he knew just a little heavier bat, a little longer. It was a 31 ounce. He went to a 31.8. And since then, he's been crushing it. Like, he's hitting 337 with a 968 OPS since the All-Star break. And that's all because Anthony saw what he was going through and knew how to fix it. So that kind of stuff, you gotta bring him back.
This is why people love to talk to other All-Stars when they go to the All-Star game, and they get tips from them. And they get, they rub shoulders with other guys that, have information that they may or may not have thought of before. And baseball always seems to have those stories of, oh, that guy just did this, or that guy just did that. There's so many redemption stories out there that it's amazing. I love it. Those are the stories I grab onto. And
it's so cool. I mean, he was a 2016 Rule 5 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just amazing where, how far he's come. So, yeah, man, it's Santander. I hope, after hearing that story, I really hope, he's a guy, because the Orioles need a veteran right now, because when they were going in a bad slump, the problem was, look at all these flashy young guys and these young flashy arms. But when you haven't been through something like, the dog days of summer and the slump, you need sometimes those veteran guys who go, hey, listen, guys, I've been here. I've been through this. You know what I mean? So you need that. You need those veteran guys.
When I look at him in terms of contract and what may be offered and accepted, I kind of think of Kyle Schwarber with the Phillies.
Ah, yes.
I think like 20 million a year, give him 80 million. I don't know if all of it's guaranteed. There could be some incentives in there and some options.
Sure.
But, to me, that would be around the range where you would lock it up. He would accept and probably with the.
Oh, make fans extremely happy. And it also convinced fans that new ownership coming in, okay, you mean business. Like, this is a great signing. Because I can tell you, if this kind of stuff was going on 3, 4, 5 years ago, this would be it for Anthony. Contract up. See you later.
Yep. If you're with the Rays, it's a lot sooner than that. I'll tell you that much.
Well, what's that? What do you say that again?
If you're with the Rays, it's a hell of a lot before you get the 20 million.
Oh, well, you guys, I mean, you're always in the top 3 payroll, but you're still winning. I mean, come on. Don't get
Do you know anything about the guys that you dealt to us? Like, did you follow them ahead of time, or did you know much about them before they were dealt?
A little bit here and there. I mean, they were definitely guys that we were talking about. I mean, you're talking about what, Jackson? I think it was Matthew Etzel. Who else? I'm trying to think. Jackson, Ballmeister,
and Matt
Horvath. Matt Horvath, right? Yeah. No, they were definitely. I mean, Matt Horvath was number 10 prospect.
Right.
Ballmeister was number 17. So they were definitely guys that a lot of fans were like, crap, when that happened. But, the other fans knew Eflin and were excited. So it was like both ways. But no, you guys got some good ones there. I mean, if you still talk some Orioles fans, they're still bitter. Even though Eflin's pitching his little hiney off, there still are some fans who are like, dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
My favorite of the bunch was Jackson Bautista, just because I know the Rays have a knack for convincing pitchers to pitch in the zone. You're just talking about, the Povich and his relentless avoidance of the zone. I think what broke the Rays back was when they had to deal with Blake Snell for so many years, and they just got tired of it. And I think they snapped and they just said, "No, that's it. We're pitching everybody in the zone."
I got to tell you, the pitching staff on the Rays and the scouts on the Rays. I mean, I hope one day they make a 30 for 30 ESPN about those guys, because it's impressive what they always do with their pitchers. But yeah, Blake Snell, it's a fun name to talk about.
Yeah, it was good to see him get his 9 innings in and no hitter. And we were talking about that last week. So hey, guess what, boys and girls, he can do it.
Yeah, right. Sure. Uh-oh, Hyde's getting hairy. Oh, he's getting in the ump's face. Here we go. Oh, Brandon Hyde.
You've been critical of him lately, haven't you?
A little bit. He's been making some, how can you be critical of a manager who, on a team like the Orioles? But I've always said I think managing's a little overrated. And like Joe Madden said back in the day, managing a baseball team is one of the easiest things you can do. But anyway, yes, I'm almost embarrassed to criticize Hyde, but he's made some really weird moves lately. It's almost like this team's doing well, and he's like, well, I want to look like I'm part of it too. So he just starts like making these weird pinch hits and taking pitchers out for no reason. Whatever. Look, I got to keep my blood pressure down. My doctor said take it easy, so
we'll let you take a breath there for a moment, then, Matt. Nate. Matt, taking a look at some of the challenges the Rays have had right now, what would you say are some of the key components that the Rays are facing?
The Rays are relentlessly addicted to trying to squeeze any sort of offense out of guys that should be in AAA. And that's for half of the lineup, really.
Yeah.
And that's what's driving down their chances of catching up in the wild card race right now. I think they're getting 1 hit so far tonight.
Why is that? Why do you think that is, Matt?
I think first of all, the voice in terms of the adjustments and everything else and the approach, I think has become predictable. To the point where pitchers are able to attack them in a certain way and they know they're going to get them out. That includes even Brendan Lau the majority of the time as well. But he's had some success when he actually, is able to adjust. And he's a little bit more veteran, so he can do that. But a lot of the guys like Taylor Walsh, Johnny DeLuca, and Jose Siri, they're just too predictable. They haven't made any adjustments to what pitching is doing to them. So they're not able to be consistent drivers. Now, Jose Siri did catch fire for a bit. I think it's because he was going to lose his job and they kind of lit a fire under him.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, I think the Rays are kind of in this weird transition now that they've made a lot of trades where the guys or the core that's coming is mostly in AAA outside of Junior Caminero. And so they can't really call them up out of AA. they have to wait for that little bit longer for them to go through AAA next year a little bit.
Right.
And that's the Rays' way. They're never going to ask them to jump.
Yeah, Rays are a team. They don't rush their players too much, do they?
No,
I've noticed.
No, they're the opposite of the
Yeah.
Angels, pretty much when it comes to position players.
Okay, yeah. Oh
But
boy,
also,
yeah. I thought I had, I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole of talking about, with the Rays in October, because I still have a little bit of faith, but I just thought, I had them, I guess, doing a little better this season. So
they have the pitching to do it.
That's what I was talking about in the beginning of the season. It was the pitching that I was looking at where I'm like, oh boy, they're going to be a problem.
Even more so now. Like their pitching since July 1st is the best in MLB.
Yeah.
And it's just they haven't been able to get the hitting support to go around that. And that was including when they had Randy, Rosarena, and everybody getting hot. They still weren't as a group because they're so hooked on Taylor Walls and a bunch of guys that are ruining their runners in scoring position chances. So if you're not able to drive guys in consistently, your pitching's just, really doesn't matter. You're going to be asking so much of them to be perfect that, 6 games back with what they've had to deal with so far this year and how lackluster a lot of the season's been, it's a miracle that they're still only 6 games back in the wild card.
No, that's true. And again, it just, goes to show you the East, such a pain in the butt division, man.
If you look at the Royals record without the White Sox included, they're at 500.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it seems like every season you can have a conversation with every team that's in the East and like put them in another division. And it's like, oh, they'd probably be leading. So it's just, the East is a beast, man. It's a whole different universe.
It's been interesting this year. Like I said, we'd all hoped that our Rays were going to be doing better. I think at the beginning of each season, Nate and I are talking and saying, well, we hope that we're meeting at the top by the end of the season. But I'm glad you guys are there. And I know some folks say, well, who's your favorite team? I was working down at the museum the other day. So who's your favorite team? And I asked them about theirs. They say, well, mine is the Twins. And my second favorite team is whoever's playing the Yankees.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can agree on that. Who's your favorite team? Anyone playing the Yankees?
That's it, brother. That's it. But it has been an interesting year. And I think in many ways, I look at what's happening with the Blue Jays, and I think, my gosh.
Yeah. Talk about crap in the bed. My goodness.
How are they not making changes to that front office? How do you stay with that group?
I don't know, man. Somebody's got something on somebody over there. I have no idea. It's just, it's unexcusable. I mean, again, they were, some of the articles and networks that you tune into, they were supposed to be one of the top teams this year.
Yep. I think they definitely have, let's say, okay, so Bichette and Guerrero, let's say either or leave or both leave. What is the core in Toronto?
No, there wouldn't be a conversation about a core. I mean, that would be,
it's one guy, either way, or no guy. So, I mean, you can't say Alejandro Kirk. You can't say
he's such a pain in the butt, man. I tell you, I love that little butterball.
Yeah,
but I tell you, he he's like an Altuve 2.0. A poor man's Altuve. He's just something, man. He's always getting hits. I mean, I would love for a guy like that to come on. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off and go down a whole thing of little butterball. Sorry about that.
The Rays have a small player in AAA called Ronnie Simone, and he's exactly that type of guy. He just seems to get the bat on every ball pitched and fouling off a million of them, and he's a great hitter.
It's insane.
Yeah,
that's what. Like Kirk, like no matter, like Corbin Burnes can't get him out. It's so stupid. Like who is? And I remember my wife walked in the room one day and she saw him up a bat and she's like, "Who is this guy?" I'm like, "Hey, have some respect. This is Kirk." But you see a guy 5'2", he's wider than he is taller, but what a player, man. It's ridiculous.
Oh, he's a great bat, great eye. Like you can't teach that stuff. It's just pure skill.
No, you can't. You can't. But I don't know. Yeah, the Blue Jays, it's an interesting conversation. to talk about the front office and what they've done and what they should have done and where they're
When
at.
you contrast them, this is what drives me nuts. Okay, I'm just gonna go out there. So the Red Sox this offseason got torn to shreds, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa! They are one great pitching performance, surprise performance away from competing. And yet the Blue Jays are getting all this great press. Like they just, they're going to dominate. They're going to be at the top. They're going to be in contention for the wild card. And I was like, how? What am I not seeing that everybody else is seeing? Because I thought the Jays were going to be fourth and the Red Sox were going to be challenging them.
Oh, so you had the Jays in fourth
or fifth. So I actually had them fifth because I saw the lack of pitching depth.
Okay.
I knew they weren't going to all be healthy all season long. I didn't have any faith in that, and turned out to be somewhat right. And then the lack of depth in the offense and just the focus on D completely, it was just sold out. The
roster. Look at you breaking it down. No, they had me fooled in the beginning of the season. I mean, I didn't have them winning the division, but I just had them doing better than they are right now. But no, I hear you. But no, I agree with Boston. What you're saying, absolutely. 100% on that.
They're a dangerous roster that they have right now.
Well, I mean, they're not. They just keep winning. Like they're sneaky right now.
Oh yeah.
Like they're everyone's like having their little party up there. Orioles, Yankees, and Red Sox. They're quietly tiptoeing up to the party. They're about to make an entrance because they're not far behind. That's what I mean. We're talking about the Rays and the Red Sox and the standings. I'm sorry, man, but. Talk to me mid-September and maybe I'll be convinced what's going to be happening here in October. Not right now, man. Not right now.
There's a report in the Tampa area where the Lightning are up for sale apparently, which I think surprised everybody.
Oh,
and somewhere around $2 billion, was it, Mark? That's being advertised for that.
Yeah.
And then it comes out that the Bucks turned down over $6 billion in terms of an offer that they received.
Damn.
So my question would be this: for $10 billion, you could probably get all three franchises.
No kidding.
Let's pull some money together, guys.
I'm loving it, brother.
Yeah, let me go look at my IRA, see what I got. Tell my wife. I'm sure that'd be a good discussion at night.
So the Orioles sold for what, $1.7 billion, I think.
Yes,
so,
that sounds about right. Yep, I think you're right.
The Rays be somewhere around there. I don't know. I can't.
Well, you gotta add all the business development to it now. Add to all that extra development area.
Yeah. What do they do? What's the situation with the new stadium?
It's locked and loaded as far as a deal being signed by both the city council and the county commissioners, and a lot of money they're going to be pouring into it. But it's not just going to be a stadium; it's a whole business development area, apartments.
Damn, good for them.
Yeah, right. Storefronts.
I think it's $6.5 billion for the area, isn't it? Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And where is it going to be built?
Next to the Trop.
Is it really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Oh, and painful.
All right. Let's do it. Let's keep the party going in Tampa or in the Trop. Yeah. Hell yeah.
St. Pete, man.
Right. St. Pete. Yeah.
Jeez, bring it. That's why it's Tampa Bay. It's not Tampa and it's not St. Pete's, Tampa Bay. We really, being here in Tampa now for like the last 19 years, really, 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 really wanted it on this side of the water.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're here.
Keep the party going.
Yeah, brother. I'm just glad we still have a party. So we'll see.
Shit. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. Yeah, because there are some rumors. I'm laughing because, last year, the year before, with the Angelos family about, the Orioles leaving. That's why I'm kind of PTSD when you say stuff like that.
What are your thoughts on expansion now that the Rays and the A's seem to have their stadium issues, figured out? Next year should be all about expansion talk. So where do you think the two franchises should go?
Oh man, that's one where I don't know. That is definitely a question I have not been asked. I don't like Las Vegas. I've always scratched it off the list. I don't know. It's like sports fans aren't there. It's just tourists.
They've done well with hockey.
What's that?
They've done well with hockey there, I believe.
Well, yeah, extremely well.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Let me piggyback off of your thoughts. You asked that, so I'm assuming it's on your mind. What are you thinking?
So I don't know. I think the sister city concept the Rays were trialing with Montreal was actually in part for expansion. So I think MLB might have been toying with the idea that when expansion happens, they could have something like a sister city. If they don't, I still think Nashville is the number one choice, personally. I think they have
Yeah.
a really strong ownership group. They have a fan base that would support it. And the fact that they're doing the NASCAR thing there now tells me that they're trialing, the amping up of MLB in that state as well.
Well, what's funny, you say Nashville, and you talk, and I just said PTSD. Let me tell you, Nashville was one of the areas that they were talking about the Orioles were going to move to, because not only, again, it was just a rumor that was starting, but John Angelos has a house out in Nashville, and his wife is huge into country music. I forgot how she's involved. I just forgot. So hearing the rumors, putting two and two together, hearing Nashville, you're thinking, oh my God. Mark, I think like last time or the time before we were talking about it, where I was sick to my stomach thinking, that could be a possibility. But no, I'd like to see Montreal.
Yeah.
They got that team taken from them. Give them a team.
You know what they're doing in Montreal right now? I'll update you. They're spending $830 million on a new roof for the Big O.
Oh, there you go. All right.
That
money.
That could be an indication, but why not build a new stadium if you're just gonna spend $830 million on a new roof?
Oh, good.
Go all in, build the stadium to go with it.
Really,
that's nothing these days. 830 million, right? That's nothing these days. It's I don't know. That's pretty wild. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's I can't even comprehend that much money. So
Well, I want to touch on one last thing I'm curious about. We can talk about some other things too, and Matt certainly bring anything up I forgot. And that is how you guys bring up these young folks. I mean, I was talking about how many of these guys were born after 2000. And Jackson Holiday, I said, here he is. He's just 20 years old. And what, you drafted him 2 years ago?
Yeah.
We don't do that.
I know. Yeah. That's right. Yep.
Matt and I have been talking about Junior Caminero, and we didn't think he was ever going to bring him up until around the 26th or so, because the status. Matt, explain that part again, if you don't mind, about how that would work.
If they would have waited till the 25th of August, he would have been a rookie eligible next year, and they could have got the draft pick you guys got this year.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what Elias does that a lot. That's why a lot of Oriole fans, they get angry that Elias doesn't bring up players sooner than he does. But that's why.
Yeah, I think that the whole time thing needs to go away completely. I think that there's just no need. Like I told Mark,
I agree with that 100%.
I think when you draft a player, there should be a set timeline from the day you sign him. That's it. There's no minors or majors time. It's the clock starts when he's signed as a minors player.
That's interesting. Yeah. I'm all for it. Let's do it. Yeah, that is something that I would sign. There's a petition going around. I'd sign it. Absolutely. For sure.
Then the team is on the clock, not the player, right? Not the agent. It's the team that's on the clock.
Sure.
Yeah, I like that too. But yeah, the Orioles, man, they just a revolving door of these young guys coming up lately. I think injuries.
Who do you see coming back from injuries? I mean, I'm not sure about Felix Bautista, how the injury is with him, and
he'll be back next year. He was throwing today in center field, getting fans excited, throwing some heat a little bit, and fans are like, "Oh my God, is he coming back this?" He's like, no, calm down. So he won't be back this year.
Well, the Rays, we've seen a trickle of some of the greatest ones we had in the past come back, and some of them are still kind of getting warmed up. I mean, we had Shane Baz come back, Jeffrey Springs, and it probably won't be until next year we see Shane McClanahan take the mound again. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things, Matt.
No, that's all accurate. I will say Shane McClanahan's a fiery guy and a fierce competitor, and he's pushing himself. I think he has a thought in his head that he can possibly make it back. But unless the Rays are in the thick of it and actually make the playoffs, I don't think there's a chance that he comes back at all this year. But don't be surprised that if they do somehow go on a winning streak, which they haven't done yet this year, which is just incredible to me. Like if they do that and he's able to jump in at some point, he would. I think that he absolutely would try to push his body that way.
Yeah, and just looking again at some of the folks we got during trade time, so Dylan Carlson, and he seems to be doing pretty well for the Rays. I'm trying to think of some other ones who've come over. It's difficult, after trades to see how the chemistry is going to work out, but it seems to be working with him. And I'm trying to get some of the other ones we could point to on
Chris
this.
Chris Morel was the other one that they got. And he had a little spark at the beginning and he's been lackluster ever since. I think he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to become the power bat the Rays need. And instead of just being himself and letting it fly, so he's pressing a little bit and you can tell. I think Dylan Carlson is someone that they could potentially have found that's a little bit of a gem. That's a little bit of a solution in the outfield, along with Richie Palacios and Josh Lowe. Like between that trio, you can see the start of something somewhat exciting, especially if Josh Lowe is healthy for the rest of the year or next year. But he's like, you can't put too much on him. But the fact that he's a switch hitter to me is very intriguing. And that he comes from the Cardinals. The Rays have had success with Cardinals outfielders and switching them on after they leave. So I'm really encouraged by Dylan Carlson and what he has to offer. But more so, I think that the Rays, kind of the revamp of the pen, they've just been lights out ever since they made all those changes.
Yeah.
And that's been the real eye opener to me. So if they're getting Pepio back Friday. So now that you have the rotation with Bradley, Bradley's been struggling a little bit, but Bradley, Boz, Littell, Springs, and Pepio, they're going to get that support from the pen. So all they need really is, 4 to 5 runs from the offense and they're going to take off. They just can't seem to get there.
Love it. I love the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the offense is kind of critical. Oh man! So coming back again, looking at what's going on with the O's, what are your hopes then for the next few weeks? What do you really want to see the O's doing that they haven't done recently?
Play good baseball.
There you go. Oh
no, it's funny because they're 13 and they're 12 and 13 right now, since the All-Star break. And you just see them because they're young, they're tired, they're doing silly errors. So I know it's kind of ironic. I feel stupid sitting here.
Can I ask a question just generally, because there's one frustration with me this year with the Rays, and it's been very obvious, and I've been highlighting it on X. They had Austin Shenton with the team for the first third of the year, and they gave him, I think, 40 at-bats. Right through that time, they had him ride the pine and barely get any playing time. Yeah. It's hard to get it in any groove whatsoever. And they're doing the same thing now with Cam Meisner since August 2nd. They've given him like 8 at bats. Mm-hmm. So they're essentially playing with a 25-man roster, right? Do the Orioles do the same? Is there a pine rider in the lineup?
Like, absolutely, there is. Yes. Yeah. Yep. There is a guy, Heston Kjerstad. I don't know. What's that?
Of all guys, like he should be getting at bats.
That's what's so frustrating. I know so I think all teams do. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could ask any fan of any team and there's always that one. Yeah. It's frustrating to see that. I mean, again, when you question it, who am I to question what they're doing? But at the same time, we're all seeing the same games. We all have the same stat sheets. We have all the same stuff that all these managers have and general managers. Just like, what are we not seeing? Like, please tell us, what are we not seeing?
It's frustrating because then you sit there, right, and you watch. I know he's not a catcher, but Alex Jackson has a 25 WRC plus this year.
Yeah.
Taylor Walls has a 58 WRC plus. Jose Siri has an 86. Johnny DeLuca has a 78. How are you supposed to build an offense, right? when the majority of your lineup is 20% under the average?
Yeah. I'm with you. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I don't don't have an answer. Apparently they have an answer. But I guess
Kevin Cash did not seem like he had an answer last night when he's getting interviewed. He was like, I just want some runs. Please give me the runs. I'll
Ooh,
go
they
to
say it like
Mexico
that?
and drink the water if I have to. I want the runs.
You guys are still on the Kevin Cash parade, right? I mean, you guys still are fans of his, right?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I just think he's been dealt a hand that he can't trust fully, unlike the previous years.
Yeah.
Previously, he was able to trust every guy, use them accordingly, because to me, the frustrating part with the Austin Shen thing for the third of the year, he crushes right-handed pitching, and they
Yeah.
struggled against right-handed pitching the first third of the year, like big time. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why aren't you using him? It's just a trust factor. It's one of those things where the front office gave him pieces that he wasn't comfortable using.
And that's extremely frustrating. And it's post game. You got to just play your role and answer the questions. Like, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Kevin Cash. I always have been.
So am I.
He's a good one.
We'll criticize a piece here or there, but I've got to tell you, the man, he's been there, was it 10 plus years now, I guess. His tenure is strong because of what he's achieved. And I'm looking forward to meeting with you guys here shortly here at Camden Yards. I guess beginning of September we'll be there.
Will you?
Yep. Isn't that right? Let's see. I think we got a games with you guys.
Yeah,
still.
you do.
Yep.
You're going to Camden Yards.
Not me.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying. I was like, damn, you just went out there last year too. Didn't you?
No, I love that place.
I would go back for sure.
No,
Loved it.
That's the thing I need to do. I need to get out more with different stadiums and I've never been to Tampa. I know it's a beautiful stadium, but I've never been there. I don't.
You'll love the color show. Like as long as they do
the color show. You said,
yeah, the roof lights up, and so once in a while you'll get to look up for 5 minutes while the ball's stuck in one of the rings or bounces off one of them. You're trying to locate it.
But, man, that's funny.
Last time I was in Camden was when Jeter was going through for his final tour, and I really, really, really had a great time talking to the fans there. I had a whole group of us.
That's good to hear.
And
I'm
was
glad to hear that.
Even the Yankee fans were welcomed in the stadium. I honestly, it was one of the highlights in terms of the stadiums I visited.
Well, speaking of Jeter and the Orioles, Jeter's last hit was a walk-off against the Orioles.
Oh,
yeah. Yep. Of course, they gave him a meatball. I remember after that game, fans were like, "Oh, that was on purpose." I'm like, "Trust me, it wasn't. That pitcher wanted nothing to do with giving Derek Jeter a walk-off. No. It was just a bad pitch."
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Nate, is there any other pieces of information you want to make sure you share here today with the people at Baseball Biz on Deck?
No, it's going to be fun coming up. I mean, I think it's fun as in right now, we don't know 100% what we're looking at. You know what I mean? It's just one of those seasons that, I think there is a little cute, fun stat out there. Where was it? I was going to, run that by you. I don't know if I can find it here. Had to do with this season and pertaining to, it was pertaining to a stat that this late in the season, there's never been a team that wasn't at 600 winning percentage. Where was it? My goodness, I thought I had it in front of me, but my point is, it's just going to be fun. We don't know. It's anyone's division.
It is.
I'm still not convinced.
Like Jazz Chisholm just went down, so that changes everything.
What? I'm sorry. What did you say, Matt?
Jazz Chisholm just went on IL, so I mean that changes everything for the Yankees.
Yeah, you're not kidding, man. So that's what I mean. Like I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced the Orioles. Yeah, I'm not convinced that anyone pertaining to the division. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. That's the kind of baseball I like.
That's it.
Kind of baseball I like.
Well, we've been talking again with Mr. Nate Andrews from Full Count Chaos. And man, if you want to catch up with what's going on with the O's and Orioles and all the fun and excitement and critiques, he's the guy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, brother.
Thank you guys for having me on. I love talking baseball with you guys, especially knowing how big of baseball fans you are. There's nothing like just sitting down and chatting baseball talk. Nothing better. Love it.
Well, thanks again, brother, for joining us. And it's been a real pleasure having you here. It always is. So
thank you.
Wish you and your team all the best. And
you as well.
All right, my friend.
All right. Take care, guys.
Just a reminder, you can find Nate Andrews on Full Count Chaos on most any podcast directory and also on his website, www.fullcountchaos.com. You can also find Matt at MAT_Germain, GERMAIN_ on X.com. Thank you again for joining us here today, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon. Special thanks to XTake RUX for the music rocking follow.